and that looked delicious. Now, this week I thought I'd do a masterclass in something that most of you have never thought about making yourself, the croissant. And it's not as hard as you think, to be honest. And all it requires is a little bit of planning, a little bit of time, that's all it is, and a special cutter, which I'll get to in a minute. So first of all, we start off with our dough. Now, it's an enriched yeast dough. It's very similar to sort of a donut, really, but we add the butter in a different way of doing it. We add the butter in a different way.
Can you do it with olive oil?
Yes, no, you can't. So we've got some plain flour in here, and then we put some yeast. Now, it's important to keep the yeast separate to the salt, because the salt will kill the yeast. But sugar feeds the yeast. So keep it just separate for the moment. Now, it's a bit like making bread, really, at this point, but you can add cold water. The only difference between cold water and warm water is how quickly it will prove. So we just add just the water to mix it, really, and use a dough hook for this. You really wouldn't want to make this by hand, because you've got 10 minutes of mixing in a machine, which equates to about sort of a good 20 minutes by hand. So you just keep adding this just gradually, just till the dough starts to bring together or come together. And this is very similar to, like I said, how you make in bread, but without the amount of sugar that we put in there. But you bring it all together like that. As the dough starts to mix up, we can then use that dough hook to start to mix it together. This is going to strengthen that gluten in the flour. And you keep mixing that for about 10 minutes, and it'll start to come together into a really smooth dough. Put it in the fridge. This is where you need to add a little bit of planning with this. So pop it in the fridge. You wouldn't normally put bread in the fridge, but this way it slowly proves. But bread will prove in the fridge, it just takes longer. So we've got a bit of dough like this. So that is your pastry. Now, what you can do is pin this out. So flour, first of all, and we take a bit of flour like that, and just carefully pin it all out. Now, what you're looking for this is about sort of 2 A4 size pieces, really, because then one of the A4 size pieces is ½ kilo of butter.
Oh, that's a heart attack waiting to happen.
This is heaven just right here.
Wow.
Check that out. That's a sandwich at my house, that is. Check that out. And we just take that over like that, fold it over. This is what we call lamination. It's the lamination of the butter in the dough, all right?
Do you think the French put that much butter in
Yes, they do. Yeah, absolutely. Really? Yeah. Henry will back me up on this one.
Oh, totally.
Trained in Normandy. That's where they put the most amount of butter in Normandy as well. So it is fantastic. But the idea is that the butter needs to be cold. And what you do, this is the lamination side of it. You roll it out. It may look as if it's got a big dollop of butter in it in a minute, but it's the lamination. It's a bit like making... Well, it's a bit like making puff pastry at this point. What you then do is you then fold each one again and again, and then roll it out again. So you do it the opposite way, and you keep doing this and doing this 3 times. Each time you can put it in the fridge.
It's basically a butter sandwich.
It's kind of it, yeah.
It's no wonder they're so tasty.
Yes, exactly. So, and then what you do is you take the finished one, after you've basically done this 3 times, which that is, and you can see there's a little bit of butter in there, but it's mainly all gone. And then you need big space.
OK.
All right? Lots and lots of flour on the board, and then you can roll it all out. So you do this, this is the final time. This is where you get the croissants. So you roll it all out again. You see, almost the butter's gone.
It's a good workout, actually, for all the fat you'll put on from the butter.
Yeah, the fact that we're going to put tons of chocolate in these as well, isn't it?
Kind of negates itself.
Because I know you like your chocolate as well.
I do.
So the idea is you just, take your time. And that's the great thing about making croissants. And I spent literally 9 months of my life on pastry sections making this.
When's the last time you made a croissant from scratch?
I figured it all out about 15 years ago, I think. But one of the first times, I was about 10 when I was working in the south of France. But they had
Hang on, isn't that like child labour or something?
Well, it was then, yeah. Yorkshire, when you can walk, you can work, lad. That was it. But you pin it all out like this. And they used they used a proper machine that used to slide it backwards and forwards in there. Now, with it being like...
Watching you.
No, it's good. There you go.
Is it? Really?
It's much easier to buy them, but there you go. But it doesn't taste the same. Right. Right, one last time. In there. And you want to get it about sort of 4 or 5 mil thick. This obviously isn't going to produce just one croissant.
You sure you're all right there? There are beads of sweat collecting on his forehead.
Right, so this croissant lark is really easy. Look at that. Right. We're there. And then what you do,
Ooh,
lift that off.
it's like a duvet.
Yeah. Lift that off like that. Dust the flour in. And then on for the machine.
Is that this thing here?
This is this thing.
This weapon that
This
we
is
had before
this is
us.
ace, yeah, this is ace. Look. What you need to do before you do the croissants, just lift it up like that. And it'll actually tighten the dough up, because if you roll this out and then do it, it sort of shrinks a little bit. So lift the dough up like that.
You're
Start at
out
one
of
end.
breath.
Start at one end and work your way through.
Oh, wow, look at that.
See, it was worth it, wasn't it?
That
Look.
was. That's amazing.
I know I can't remember what you do. So you take the dough like this, and you pin it, point this up, and roll it.
And that's it. Look
That's
at that. Oh, that's
And
amazing.
now you're here, and
Can
it's
I
your
do
birthday.
one?
You get a
Yeah.
yeah, you can do one there. There you go.
Right, so
There you go.
pin it.
There you go.
See if mine
you
is
pin
better
it
than
like
yours.
this.
Okay. Shall we have a croissant off?
Yes, go on then.
Right.
There you go. Well, it's a bit different to the. So there you go. Roll it all up with the chocolate
Yeah.
in it. It's a far cry away from those manic shows that you're doing. You see.
Oh, look at that.
You started off in the Big Breakfast, didn't you?
I
when you
did many years ago.
2001,
when
I believe.
Jesus was a boy, way back
Right.
when. Yeah, it's almost they had their 10-year not anniversary, but
Yeah.
since it came off air. So yeah, that was the first thing I did on UK television.
Yeah. But
Started
then-
out in Ireland actually on a morning show there called Ireland AM.
And
then I
most
moved
recently, of
breakfast.
course, we've seen you on Total Wipeout. I can't believe the show's well, the show's ending.
You can't, neither can I. It's really, you know, all good things must come to an end at some point. There is one show left to air, though, and that's going to happen at the end of this year.
Right.
But it's funny because most people say to me, you know, they just can't imagine the days when Wipeout wasn't around.
Yeah.
It's been on air for 4 years, and
Seems to have been on air for a lot longer.
forever.
than that,
I know.
yeah.
Well, it's kind of the modern day. It's a knockout, really.
Yeah.
If I had a penny for everyone that said, "Oh, can I have a go in your big red balls," I would be a rich
It's the sweeper's
woman.
the best one, you see.
Oh!
That's the best one.
Oh, we should have got you on it.
No.
Well, there's still time yet.
No, I said I like it. Didn't mean to say I'm going to go on it. That's about as far as the workout I'm going to get as well. But, you
Yeah,
know, straight
so-
after that one goes off air, but you're doing something, well, two things new. So tell us about that then.
So
Tell us about-
there's a show on Sky One, which
Yeah.
actually is on air at the moment. It's called Don't Stop Me Now, which is
Right.
it's a talent show with a twist. So we basically get comedians, singers and variety acts, and we give them the opportunity to win £25,000 per
Yep.
show. And as they're performing, all the audience members have a keypad. And if within a space of 100 seconds they don't impress the audience, the singers go through a trap door, the comedians
Through
go
a trap door?
Oh, yeah.
Right.
The comedians go through a brick wall and the variety acts get exploded. So,
Right, OK.
no pressure.
No pressure then, yeah.
And, you know, there's kind of a theme here, isn't there? Me laughing at the misfortunes of
Yeah.
others. Yeah, it's what I do.
So
That's on
for Sky
Sundays.
One.
That's
And
for
then-
Sky One.
then the other
tomorrow
interesting-
night, Chris Moyles is on our show tomorrow
and the other
night.
interesting show you're doing at the moment as well is The Angel. Tell us
Yes.
about that then, with
Oh, it's
Mr. John
fantastic.
Caldwell.
Mr. John Caldwell, who is the highest paying taxpayer in Britain, I believe. He's
He's
a
the phones for you
self-made...
man.
He is, yeah. And he started out his business a few years ago with 26 phones worth £1,200 and turned it into a £2 million business. And his principle is that, you know, it's not the product that makes you a billionaire, it's how you... you know, how you sell it and the team that you work with and your personality. So basically, I liken it to a mix of The Voice meets Dragon's Den. So you've got
Right.
5 entrepreneurs per show. John does not know what any of their ideas are.
Yeah.
And through a series of rounds, he eliminates one per round, not knowing what their business is, and then he finds out what the business is after he's eliminated them. So he invests £100,000 every night into the person that he believes is the entrepreneur for him. And that's it. So it's a simple format. It's
Yeah.
the first time something like this has been done as a shiny floor format, really. So he's putting his money where his mouth is. Yeah, it's a really good little show.
I've got an idea about a bakery look. with the
Yeah,
old
so what-
croissants, you
so
see.
what is your
I'm
idea
just
then?
quite happy just doing this, as long as somebody else rolls it out for me.
It's worth £100,000,
Well,
that
it is.
croissant.
There's a lot of money in bread and flour, you see, and all you do is these are the little. These are the chocolate sticks. You can buy these online, really. That's the best way to do it. This is not
Or you
just
can make them.
It's not just some random chocolate you put in there. It's got to be baker's chocolate, otherwise it sort of
Right.
oozes out everywhere. But you can use dark chocolate for this one. But the idea is you just roll it up like that, and you can make pan au chocolat the same. But you're just going to cut this into squares. If you haven't got one of these,
Forget
go out to the
about
shops
it.
and buy one, or buy your croissants on your way back. Egg wash, let it prove, and then bake these for 15 minutes in an oven. That's 400 degrees Fahrenheit.
Here's some you prepared
200 degrees
earlier.
centigrade. These are the ones that I bought at the shop this morning.
No, they're not. Are they? Really?
These have made this
Can
morning.
I have one?
But the idea of these got this. I think that one's got the chocolate. Yes,
That's
it's got
good,
the chocolate
yes.
in it. But
So
break
just
it open. See
dab
what
it.
you see what you think. But
I was just going to just...
it's the lamination of the butter and. I'm sure Henry will admit to this, but it's the lamination of the butter in the dough which makes it. And you cannot make this with margarine. You must use all butter.
I have no words.
But it is quite fattening.
That is amazing.
There you go. Birthday treat for you. There you
Oh,
go.
thank
and
you.
if there's a skill or a tip you'd like me to demonstrate on the show, perhaps you need some much-needed help with a cooking technique, you can get it right here. Then drop us a line. You can get all the contact details via our website. That's bbc.co.uk/Saturday Kitchen. I'm worn out now. And we'll be cooking for Amanda at the end of the show, which is facing that food heaven. Salmon done two ways. First, I'm going to slice some salmon, then thinly drizzle it with a hot sesame oil, and next top the other part with some tempura salmon fritters, and serve them both with a Japanese citrus mayonnaise. And the citrus is called yuzu juice. Or Amanda could be facing yuzu juice, cross between a satsuma and a mandarin. It's amazing flavour. Here you go.
Okay.
But you could be facing food hell, of course. That pork with a very popular cut of meat, the pork belly. The pork is poached with carrots, onions,